somehow become the focal point of the entire world's conversation. I will not accept that.
I claimed your boots. I'll go get them for you.
Back to the Nerdy Grill, and today I've got another movie review for you because I have just come back from the cinema with my fiance after watching the brand new Superman movie titled Superman 2025. So this is the first in the new DC Studios, DCU, trying to revitalize the DC extended universe. And I think, if I'm perfectly honest, and I'm going to be honest from the get-go now, I was really apprehensive going into this. The trailers, even though they really seemed like they was full of energy, lots of action, good mix of mystery, adventure, bits of comedy in there, you can definitely tell that James Gunn is now fully at the helm and in charge and influencing this universe and studio in a big way. I was a bit unsure how he was going to bring it to the DCU, because obviously DC before has been a lot darker, a lot grittier, and it's now trying to bring in almost that Marvel-esque light-heartedness to the DC universe, and almost make it a lot more comic book accurate. And I will say that this is probably one of the most comic book accurate versions I have seen in a very long time, and hands down, for me personally, I know other people might say different, but in my opinion, I thought this was definitely, so far, the highlight of 2025. This is definitely my favourite movie that I have watched this year, and debatably could be my favourite DC movie that I've seen in a very, very long time. Up there for me with the likes of The Batman, with Robert Pattinson, and also Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, the original Joker, not the second one, but the original Joker. It's up there for me, this film. I think it is done superbly. I think every actor and actress in this movie nails it out the park. I don't think there's a single performance in this movie that I wasn't thoroughly engaged in. I never once checked my watch. I was constantly engaged. The plot was brilliant, albeit a little bit tangled at times. There was a lot going on at you. But what I also like about this movie is that it doesn't try and spoon feed you things that you've seen before. Because obviously it's the start of a new universe, because obviously, it's Superman and people might be joining in for the first time. You worry that potentially they might go back and do the whole origin story. You'll see him obviously as a baby. You'll see him having to be forced to leave Krypton, being sent down to Earth, live his life with his new Earthbound parents, and then grow up to be Superman. They don't actually do that. No, instead, when the movie starts, they give you a bit of almost like a Star Wars style text where it says like, 3 millennia ago this happened, 3 decades ago this happened, 3 months ago this happened, 3 days ago this happened. They give you a little bit of a text variant of it, which sometimes can be a bit tedious and boring, especially if they don't give you enough time to really digest and read it, especially for new viewers. But I think for us, or for people who already know the story of Superman, it was quite nice, quick off the bat, and you got straight into the action, whereas Superman has already been defeated at the start of this movie, which is really, really interesting. So, which I also like as well, because the problem that Superman usually has is Superman's seen as this indestructible alien who has very few weaknesses, And that was the problem in the previous DC extended universe with like Justice League and Zack Snyder's Justice League, is Superman felt very overpowered, and sort of that takes away a bit of the threat and a bit of, the tension of a movie. But this one, they really brought him down to earth. They really made him feel vulnerable as a character. He had his flaws, he had his mistakes. You could really identify him more so as a person, especially through Clark Kent, as opposed to the alien, indestructible Kryptonian that is Superman. Although, to be fair, we don't actually see him an awful lot as Clark Kent in this movie, but what we do see of him as Clark Kent, it is really, really nice. You see parts of his life at the Daily Bugle then, the Daily Planet. You get to see him in his life with Lois, who he's been dating for about 3 months at this point, on an on-off relationship. You get to see him try to do secret interviews with Lois. You get to see him build a relationship with his parents, his adopted parents on Earth, which are really, really nice. And I really, really like that. Gives you that more light-hearted, down-to-earth feel amongst all the intense action. And then how he plays Superman as well. As Superman, he is heroic. But he's also, because it's still quite early doors for him, he's only been Superman and on Earth for approximately 3 years or so. He's sort of still trying to find his ground. He's not perfect. He's making mistakes. He's defeated quite a lot in this movie by all the opposition that he comes across, be it Lex Luthor, be it Ultraman. He's constantly on the back foot until right at the end. He relies on Krypto, who, if you've watched my reactions to the trailers, you know my thoughts on Krypto. I thought Krypto was amazing, was used perfectly in this movie, and was done hilariously, almost like a bit of comic relief. I love Krypto, but he did rely on Krypto an awful lot to get him out of a lot of tight scrapes. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, I said it during the trailers that he was going to be one of the stars of this movie, and he nails Lex Luthor, and he nails the rivalry between Superman and Lex perfectly. He has that pure hatred for him. He doesn't understand why people like him so much. He sees him as a threat. He wants to be on top of the shop, and so he goes out of his way to try and make people turn against Superman. He creates Ultraman, or as we think he's going to become, he's going to become Bizarro probably if he ever returns. He gets sucked into a black hole at the end of this movie, but he'll probably come out a bit different. But he creates him using a strand of Superman's DNA to go up against Superman, to cause problems. It is done brilliantly. I absolutely adore it. There was a couple of surprise cameos in this as well. John Cena as Peacemaker appears on a talk show at one point, which we were completely shocked seeing that little cameo. I thought that was great, so it's nice to see he's still kicking around. We also had Supergirl appear at the end of this movie as well, who takes Krypto back from Clark. Obviously, she was just lending him. And I believe one of the next movies is actually a Supergirl movie. So I'm hoping we'll see what happens with that. There's also loads of other characters in this as well. Loads of other superheroes as well. Like Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, and Green Lantern as well. Also in this as well. Which I think bounce off each other perfectly and work with Superman perfectly. They each got their own personalities and bring something unique to the table. I thought the music was done perfectly. The new vitalized scores of the Superman theme were done really well. I just thought everything was done perfectly, if I'm perfectly honest. And I really thoroughly enjoyed this Superman movie. It's a movie that I've come out the cinema thinking I could easily go back into the cinema to watch that, and I would highly recommend watching this movie to anybody, really. You don't even have to be a superhero fan. I think you will just enjoy this as a movie in general. But yeah, that's just going to be my rough thoughts on the movie. What would I rate it out of 10? For me, I'm going to give this movie a solid 8 out of 10, because for me, it had everything that I wanted in a movie. It kept me engaged. It was funny. There were some great one-liners from loads of different characters as well. Not cheesy ones or forced ones. They were woven into the scenes perfectly as well. So I really enjoyed that. Every character, whether, like I said, it was Clark, Superman, Lex Luthor, the other superheroes in it, Clark's parents, Lois Lane, the actress who plays Lois Lane does a fantastic job. Lois as well. She's not all goo-goo gaga over Clark. She stands strong on her own, but still has that bond and relationship with Clark and wants that to move forward. She's a bit awkward. She doesn't really know whether a relationship could work, but makes it work by the end. I just think it is done brilliantly. So she does a fantastic job as well. There's not a character in this movie that I don't think shines, and that is when a movie is done well, and it is absolutely amazing. Fantastic movie, like I said. Definitely scores a high 8 out of 10 for me. And if this is how the new DC universe is going to go on, and Supergirl is going to go on and do amazing things as well, then I think we've got a bright future ahead of us with DC. So hopefully DC can now start going strong and build a proper, good, strong universe ahead of it now. And can I just say as well, because I showed this off at the start of my review, but this is one of a couple of different Superman merch that you could get in my local cinema. This is one of 2 cups. This was the premium cup. You could also get a light up cup variant. You could also get like popcorn machines with Superman shooting lasers at his eyes. But this cup is absolutely really, really good. I love it. The design, the texture, the feel is perfect. And it actually has a cape. I think this is really, really neat. I love the detail that they go into with the merch, and I'm glad that they're really advertising the film properly through the merch. But yeah, that is going to be my review on the brand new Superman movie for 2025. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please like it by giving it a thumbs up and comment down below your thoughts on the new Superman movie. And subscribe if you are new. But for now, this is the Nerdy Grail signing off. I hope you've had an amazing day, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now, everyone.